Chuck.
So, Popular Science magazine listed the city of Thousand Oaks as one of the 50 greenest cities in America. This wasn't an award that we had applied for. It wasn't even something we knew anything about. Somebody actually called us and told us that they saw us in there. So we, of course, ran and got a copy of the magazine, looked inside, and we were both surprised, excited, proud, and decided that we wanted to be #1. So, within the developed world, every city has a certain number of systems. You've got a water system, you've got a wastewater system, streets, bridges, drainage, traffic signals, all the things that we kind of collectively refer to as infrastructure. And the quality of that infrastructure is what defines a first world nation. Each of these systems has the ability to pollute. And every one of these systems has the ability to be sustainable. All the great civilizations of the world have had great levels of infrastructure. And to maintain their status as a great civilization, they had to be sustainable. Because by its very definition, if you're not sustainable, you're not going to last. It's really kind of simple. Within the public works area, we are all about infrastructure. We design it, we build it, we operate it, we maintain it for your use. I'm the public works director for the city of Thousand Oaks. The roads that you drove in on here today are paved with a combination of reclaimed aggregates and ground-up car tires. When we go out and maintain our landscaping, we use beneficial insects and try to limit pesticide use. In our fleet, we use re-refined oil, we recycle our own antifreeze, we use retread tires. We operate a stormwater quality system, we practice water conservation, we use low water use plants and native plants. All the traffic signals you see around town, you know those cool LED flashlights that are out today are real popular? It's been almost 10 years since we converted all our traffic signals to LEDs, using a fraction of the energy that they used to use with the old bulbs. And all those curbside recycling carts that everybody's just kind of so used to, that's the kind of stuff that we've brought to you over the years and that all of us are now used to. The lighting in this theater is produced by wind power in Iowa and California and a biogas project in Washington. And we did that by converting the largest energy accounts in the city through California's direct access program to open market. So we actually go out and we bid for the energy that we buy. And guess what? We do it for cheaper than if we were buying it off the grid. So TED is all about sharing ideas. Here's our idea. Our idea is that you can practice economic environmentalism and you can do it at the local level. And by economic environmentalism, we mean projects that make both economic and environmental sense, where you can measure whether they're successful by both the return on investment and whether there's an environmental benefit. And by local, what we mean is in the city that you live in and the city that you work in. Local government is the closest level of government and the area where you can make the biggest difference. Our fleet's been converted. We set a goal, and Chuck's going to talk more about goal setting. It's important to set goals, but our goal is 50%. We've got compressed natural gas buses. We've got electric vehicles. We had electric vehicles. They're coming back. We've got hybrid vehicles. We've got biodiesel vehicles. We have gone all over the place and looked at everything we can do. We're going to talk a little bit about our Hill Canyon wastewater treatment plant. I can tell you, public employees have been taking quite a hit lately, and it's not all warranted. The people that I work with every day are environmentalists. They're proud of the services that they provide. At our Hill Canyon wastewater plant, we have got the lowest wastewater rates in the county, and we've got one of the most advanced wastewater plants in the country, and it's operated in a sustainable manner. Chuck's the reason for that. Yeah, there you go. He is an absolute maniac on the budget, proving the economic piece. He knows how to save money. He knows how to make money. If you want to make a difference, you need to find a company or a business that has the ability to pollute and then go to work for them and make sure that doesn't happen. I can assure you that a wastewater plant has the ability to pollute, and it's Chuck's job to make sure that doesn't happen. He's going to tell you how.
Great. I wish we could bring the bass player up, and you can break into a standing ovation anytime you want to. That would be fine with me. Who do you need most today? Mark Zuckerberg, Steve Jobs, or Chuck Rogers? I guarantee you, you probably have lasted this long without Facebook. I know a number of you have looked at your iPhones in the meantime, but all of you have gone to the bathroom in the city of Thousand Oaks today. You're welcome. This is my only sad slide. We're going to have a lot of fun today, but 40% of the world don't have sanitation like what we do in the United States of America. It's not something to gloat about. It just is what it is. And so we don't have to worry about it here in the city of Thousand Oaks. All you brilliant people can go live your lives, and you don't worry about wastewater treatment, do you? Well, that's a good thing. But 40% of the people, they're getting sick and they're dying because of it. You know, you probably wonder what I do for a living. And so here's a little snapshot. 10 million gallons a day of water come to me. It comes to me 24 hours a day because you folks absolutely refuse to stop flushing your toilets. It comes in, it looks like chocolate milk. When it leaves, it looks like bottled water. So a very cool thing there, right? 60 acres of technology. Everything's going 24/7. Nice 7 acres wetlands behind it. I work with people that are like me and that were absolutely obsessed with environmental matters and keeping the cost down. It's just a very cool thing. We got our little family out there at the city of Thousand Oaks, and we're just busting it all the time for you. There are two things I want to tell you about wastewater treatment, and I'm going to dive right into the energy aspect of it. One is, you know, things are going pretty darn well. You know, in the United States of America, we have great sanitation. We really don't have to worry about things. The second one is the greatest threat to us, though, for sustainability in wastewater treatment, this is going to catch a few of you off guard, has to do with over-regulation. Here we go. I got the three bears up here. If we're under-regulated, which we're not, that's not a good thing. If we're over-regulated, obviously is a very bad thing. Get to the basic economic law of the return, marginal return. We spend $150 million. We have a wastewater treatment plant. It operates beautifully, but we're constantly at war with people that want to overregulate us. And you're just going to kind of have to take my word on this, is that I can do anything you want me to do with water. I can make it like rainwater, but you know what that's going to do? It's going to kill fish. I can make it like distilled water, but you know what that's going to do? It's going to kill fish. The fact of the matter is, from my standpoint, the more technology that you pile on me, the more money I'm going to get paid. But the greatest frustration that we have as operators of the wastewater treatment plants is we're sitting there looking and going, what is that ratio between the cost of something and the actual value that comes out of it? The other thing about the future of wastewater treatment here, you know what we're beginning to look at now? We traced all these industries down here. Here's another good story. You're going to hear a lot of positive things about the environment from me. But, you know, at time, all we do was focus on industries, you know, get industries, make sure that they're discharging. And you know what? They came in line. It's a good story. Nobody wants to discharge anymore. Nobody wants to discharge nasty stuff, so business is in line with it. But you know who we're looking at now? You. We're looking very carefully at you. They're called contaminants of emerging concern. So if you're taking pharmaceuticals, if you're taking illegal drugs, if you're taking anything, guess what? It's beginning to show up at the wastewater treatment plant. The good news is, you know, and a lot of people are concerned about that. Everybody's all fearful about everything. Oh, the world's coming to an end. I don't think so. But anyway, but we're looking at the technologies, and as that technology emerges, one of the things right now, we can knock out a lot of that stuff, but we end up doing the exact opposite of what we want to do, which is to use a ton of electricity to do it. So we got to find some way to knock these emerging contaminants out. Things pop up, birth control pills, things like that, products that, you know, we put on just, you know, to make us look good and stuff like that are all having an effect, and we know this is happening. So the good news is technology, it's continuing to improve, so, you know, all good. 2545, isn't that a lovely slide? I love that slide. You know, why would I care? The 2545, which is the bottom 50% of wastewater monthly sewer service charges, why would that be a big deal to me? You know why it's a big deal? I don't want your money. I want to build a sustainable wastewater treatment plant that operates and does a great job for you, but I don't want your money because everybody else does, don't they? Have you noticed how everything's getting more expensive? We got to tax you, we got to do this. I don't want your money. I want you to take that money, spend it on your family, and have a good time. Well, what does that 2545 pay for? Three things. It pays down our debt. We have a AAA bond rating. That is absolute gold. That means the rich guys who come in $1,000 suits take a look at us and go, you are so good, we're going to take your debt and we're going to get 2% return on it. So just last year, saved $1.2 million on that. The other thing that it does is my normal O&M cost takes care of all the business I'm doing there at Hill Canyon. But we're talking about $8 million. I'm one of those people who you never know who gets to spend hundreds of millions of dollars worth of your money throughout your career. So I'm going to do the best job I possibly can. The third part of that, though, is you got to put money away in the bank, don't you? Does this sound like kind of a financial plan that works for you? I'll get right to M&M. There's a concept that works.
Talking about rates real quick. Chuck's talking about rates. There's a sustainability component to rates. If your rates are artificially low, if you're not paying for everything it takes for future repairs, future replacement, then you are pushing off debt onto your children. And you don't do that at home. So why would you do it with your infrastructure? It's pretty easy, really. If you think about water rates, if you're not paying for what it's going to take to repair those pipelines, repair those tanks, or if you set it artificially low, people will be wasting water, which leads to water shortages, which leads to rates going up. We've seen it. It's in the paper almost every day. Same thing with electricity rates. It's actually the rise in electricity rates that have made the energy products that we've done economically viable. So it works. So the front page of the paper this morning, gas, $4 a gallon. Anybody happy about that? It should be higher. It's not sustainable. We're not paying to replace the streets. We're not paying to repair our streets. We're not paying to maintain our bridges. If you want to be a sustainable civilization, you've got to pay the way. And all of these things have the ability to pollute. They've all got the ability to be sustainable. You've got to set those rates in the right spot.
Great. A number of years ago, I'm sitting around my office, and I decided that, looking at the whole thing, I said, I got to write a kind of a sustainability plan, or I got to write an energy management plan. So I had one of those Jerry Maguire moments. Have you ever had one of those? You sit down, you write a couple pages of stuff. Nobody ever reads it. But it became the backbone for our energy management plan at the Hill Canyon Wastewater Treatment Plant. And that saved you tons of money. And it all boiled down to 5 simple words. I go for that one: conservation, optimization, and renewable energy generation. Think of conservation. We got a lot of young people in the room. You know, your parents always yelling at you, turn off the light switch, turn off the light switch. Okay, simple conservation concept. A number of years I'm flying in to LAX, and a lot of times on the glide path coming into LAX, you go right over the top of the Hill Canyon Wastewater Treatment Plant. So I'm looking down and I'm going like, damn, there's a lot of lights on down there. I wonder what's going on there. And I had that I'm an idiot moment. And I come back to the guys at work and I said, hey guys, I flew over the plant last night. There's 1,000 lights on. How come? They go, well, you know, if anybody has to be called in, the lights are on. It makes it easier for them. I said, well, they had lights on the car, don't they? Okay, that's a good start. Why don't I just give you a flashlight and then you can go turn the lights on when you get there? Now, optimization. And I love making fun of the environmental community. Actually, I love making fun of everybody. But if you ever see these greenhouse gas conferences, you know, the world's in the end, what do they always inevitably do? They take a look at all the jets on the runway. So, optimization, you sit there and go, I'd like to introduce to the environmental world the concept of Skype. So we can just talk to each other and maybe not fly these jets around. But optimization of the wastewater treatment plant, that's something a little different. Because as we took a look at it, we sit there and said, everything that we're doing could be done better. And you know what's cool about conservation and optimization is the first 2 parts of this whole energy management plan, as soon as you get done, you get to start right over again. You know, the key is we've been saving this money. We've had the same sewer rate for the last 6 years. It saves money. There's no question about it. As far as electrical usage, we've had a 40% drop in the last 10 years. And we know we're going to get to 50%. And that's pretty darn cool. Yeah!
So real quick, Chuck talks about doing it over and over again. How did we get there? We reduced from 30 down to 19 megawatts. How do you get there? You look at absolutely everything you've got. We upgraded all the lighting we had. We turned off equipment. We replaced inefficient motors, refined your HVAC system. And once you start down this path, you find more and more things that you can do. And then we set some goals, 5% a year. Make it achievable. We're going to reduce by 5% a year. Hey, guess what? It's easier in the first few years, right? But we made it again in 2009. We made it again in 2010. We're on track to make it in 2011. we have reduced our carbon footprint by 74% in the last 10 years. Amazing? Yep. Through that combination, optimization, conservation, and creating your own energy. And at the same time, save $250,000 a year doing it. That is economic environmentalism. And guess what? You can play this game at home. Okay? I finally went home. I live in what I would call basic 2,000 square foot house. I went home, swapped out all my lights for compact fluorescents, finally unplugged and got rid of the old refrigerator in the garage, turned off that old computer in the back bedroom. I got down to tier 1 Edison, $36 a month. You can do it. Yeah.
All right, the renewable energy generation portion of this is always great fun. So we have a little space down at Hill Canyon, and so we said, you know, we look at the natural resources around us, and we have 2 of them in abundance at Hill Canyon. First, the sun, that's a no-brainer, isn't it? 2,783 solar panels. They start in the morning, and they tilt all the way till the sun goes down. 15% of our overall electricity, 50% during the summertime when the energy is most expensive, there it is. Guys, I got a secret for you, though. I want to tell you this one. We get tours, and ladies, if you don't mind tuning out just briefly, this is just for the guys in the audience.
Uh-oh.
I give tours all the time. We get tours from around the United States, and so, you know, we walk around the treatment plant, I explain to people what's going on, and, you know, it's a lot of fun. And then we get down to the solar panels. And I can say this with, you know, I'm a scientist, I guess. I don't know. I got an English degree, but I'll call myself a scientist today. Women love solar. I mean, well, I got it, there you go. You know, we go down there and everybody's like, okay, and then the women see 2,783 solar panels, they just, oh, this is so cool. They just love that. So guys, if you're having trouble in your relationships at home, let's go, honey, I'd like to bring us closer together. Let's put some solar panels up. Okay, second thing, what's the other natural resource that you send me every day? I will give it the scientific term, it's called poop. That's right, when you flush that toilet, I create some magic down at Hill Canyon. So 99.95% of what you send me is water, but that 0.05%, I'm able to make 50% of the electricity that we use at Hill Canyon. So you got a wastewater process, clean water here, dirty water here, bouncing back and forth. But we eventually get these solids into these digesters. They're anaerobic tanks, we mix them up, we heat them, and boom, we get methane gas from that. We burn that in engines, create 50% of the electricity. We also use the heat from those engines to heat our admin building and to also heat those digesters. So, cool thing, right? All right. So our city council would go back to them and say, look, we got 65% renewable energy. And God bless the city council here at the city of Thousand Oaks because they came back and they said, well, we want 100%. So we said, okay. It's good. You know, it's great when people get along, isn't it? That's one thing the city does is they're just green, 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 green. I don't know why we're not #1 in America. I really.
We'll get there.
It befuddles me at this point. So anyway, how do you get the fuel for that? It's real simple. You take restaurant grease and you put it in the digesters and it goes wild. So essentially what you have is you've got people hauling restaurant grease to you instead of taking it down to L.A. It's okay with you, isn't it, if we take one little more truck off the road? We're all good with that? Put it in the digesters, you get to 100% electricity, and I wish it would be going, but I'm telling you, within 2 weeks, we're going to be there, baby. Yeah. Here's my problem. I can't stop at 100%. I'm just going to go crazy. We're going to, you know, I'm serious. One of the technical issues we get, and then how are we able to get this out onto the grid? Remember I talked about overregulation? You know what? You get arguing with the CPUC, you get arguing with Edison, you know, but we're going to take that electricity, we're going to put it back on the grid. So all good, everybody? Yeah.
Okay, the economic reality guy is back. So how much do we pay for these things? We built 2,783 solar panels generating 0.5 megawatt in the peak of the day. Built a couple of cogeneration engines generating the rest of the energy we need. And we put this much money up front. True public-private partnerships. What we did is we thought, you know what? We don't want to run an energy plant. We want to run a poop plant, right? So we went out and we did some requests for proposals. We went out and said, hey, is there any companies out there that would come in and build, own, maintain, and operate a solar array, and then we'll just buy our power from you on a monthly basis. We write a check to these guys rather than Edison, and a bunch of companies raised their hands and said, we'd be happy to do that. And they did. 16 cents per kilowatt, flat rate, 20 years. And isn't it nice to know what you're going to be paying for energy for the next 20 years, so no increases. We did the same thing on cogeneration. On that one, we just looked at it and said, hey, we got all this methane gas. We will give you all the methane gas we produce. You guys come in, you build it, you own it, you maintain it, you operate it, and we'll write you a check every month rather than Edison. And a couple more companies raised their hands, and we'd be happy to do that. 6.8 cents per kilowatt hour on that one. We're paying about 36 cents during a peak summer afternoon. Okay? You don't have to be brilliant to figure out the economics on these things. It works. They're paying for themselves right now.
So, you know, the future is very bright. We're taking a look at food waste as well. Instead of putting this, 12% of the waste in Ventura County is food waste that goes to the landfill. I don't know if you know what happens to the landfills, but they take things in and they absolutely seal it. If King Tut had been buried in a landfill, we could probably still put paddles on him and wake him up right now. Anyway, we're just beginning. I write on my board at work all the time this quote from Virgil, the Roman philosopher: fortune favors the bold. There you go. So Ted, thank you. You can practice economic environmentalism. Look at every area of your life, figure out where you have the ability to pollute, make sure it doesn't happen. That's our idea. There we go.
There we go.
Gentlemen, thank you. Thank you.